Hey, I just got in. I made it past through the baggage check, and you know the security and all that. And now I'm just waiting for my flight to begin, which should be in about maybe an hour and a half. So I'm just roaming around the stores, and I hope you're doing well. And I'll probably watch some videos, sit down, maybe eat a little something. But just wanted to update you on how I've been. Almost 9 p.m. and I'm just sitting outside here. Just trying to get a little bit of privacy for myself in this public area before I really need to sit where my terminal is and get on that plane. It was my senior year of college at Quinnipiac University when I decided to get an internship in Barcelona through the CEA Study Abroad program. A representative of the program spoke at my university, saying that if I joined, I would be guaranteed an international internship. At the time, I was desperate for anybody to let me work for them, because none of the jobs I applied for previously would. I remember applying time after time to no avail. And even though I knew that I wouldn't receive college credit for taking this on, because I would graduate by the time I leave for work, I thought it would still be an amazing benefit to my future. So why, out of all of the places I could have chosen, that I chose Barcelona to do my internship in? Well, for multiple reasons. I'll list my top 3 here. First, it was to learn more about Spanish culture. Second, was to improve my Spanish speaking abilities. And third, well, because it was cheap, at least compared to other places like China, Germany, or Australia. But let's get to the exciting stuff. The flight to Barcelona took about 6 hours and 52 minutes, but it was a really pleasant trip. I was in first class for the first time ever and got some fancy breakfast to eat while I watched cartoons. Oh, and this guy was my only neighbor throughout the flight. He was really funny. He was traveling to Barcelona for business, and technically, so was I. Now the following is just me recording where I was staying during my 2 months in Barcelona. So if you would like to skip this part, please go to this time. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy. After moving into the apartment, I had a couple of days to get settled, get to know my 6 other roommates, and find where I would be working for the next 2 months. I waited alongside other interns until I got the full details of my new job. I received this form saying that I will be interning at Crec Co-working Eixample, a place that offers assistance and space for people working on their personal business projects. My responsibility specifically was to create content for their blog, edit, and proofread their articles. It felt a little daunting, sure, but I was confident that I would have a good time. How would I describe my first month in Barcelona? Normal. Yeah, my first month didn't have too many life-changing moments. Just usual stuff you could do in your own town. Learning to take the train, watching protests, and just acting like the average citizen. But I figured if anything, at least work would be fulfilling enough to make up for these mundane moments, right? Well, it was kind of hard for me to stay focused on my work because the environment was so much more relaxed. It almost felt like there wasn't any work to be done. I learned pretty early the differences in work culture between Europe and the United States. In Europe, people tend to value more free time in their lives, whereas in America, people are more likely to be concerned with the task at hand rather than find time to relax. At this point, I've had experience working in both Europe and the United States, so I definitely noticed the differences. But by learning to compromise and enjoy being more flexible at work while regaining my focus on my responsibilities, it made my experience even better. And that's when more exciting events happened to arise. That made me feel much more like a tourist. I was getting more adventurous and spending more time with my roommates doing activities, like going to the beach, which was a very fun time, even though I got a sunburn, and I forgot that people in Europe are more open with their bodies. So it was quite a success that I got a photo with no topless women in it. By the end of my first month, I visited a lot of interesting places in Barcelona. Here are just a few. I had many great experiences during my first month, but one of the highlights of my trip was actually in a place that was not in Barcelona. For all of the things I saw near where I lived, I have to say there was another place that stole my heart when I got there. A place that I would have never known about if I never took this internship. I was able to go thanks to one of those excursions that the program provides students. I figured it'd be a different weekend experience other than... Yeah, Valencia was a totally different feeling. Valencia was such a beautiful place when I was there. It took us 3 hours and 32 minutes to arrive at our hotel called Dimar Hotel, and everyone shared one roommate for the 2 days we were staying. That was my side of the bed. I still find myself missing Valencia, wishing that I could explore more of what it had to offer. But I'm glad that it was more than I anticipated when I arrived. Here's what I found while there. I had to make a special shout out to this amazing weekend excursion because it made me feel like I was in Spain for more than just an internship, but a fun vacation. It has less tourists because not a lot of people know about it, but I say check it out whenever you can. Valencia was fun, but Barcelona had more in store for me. So while I was doing my internship, I made time for some more adventures. Working full-time made me truly understand how we all need moments to blow off steam. So I'll show you some places I ventured to do just that. This city has a variety of places to explore, as long as you push yourself to find them. I even discovered this beach festival in time to celebrate my experience in Barcelona, which at this point was still far from being over.
Barcelona, this is gonna be my last drop!
I will always carry these fun memories, but at the end of all of them, I had to return to what I was really meant to do in Barcelona, and that was to complete my internship. Speaking of that, how was my internship going? By July, I was honestly still having some challenges adjusting to the work environment, even though I involved myself in more assignments. But that doesn't necessarily mean my experience was bad. For my experience to be difficult, and to still complete it, there's a lot to achieve in that, compared to if I had more of a breeze during my stay. Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations can really show what you're made of, and set a more specific guide of what you truly want out of a career. Here's a clearer description of what I mean by having a guide, and how mine shifted over the course of my program. Before doing my internship, I had some time to work in retail, which involves things like helping customers shop for clothes, organizing items, and cleaning up the store. Based on that experience alone, I gathered some ideas for what I would want out of a future career. I narrowed it down to these three things. I thought I'd excel better in a slower paced environment where I had more downtime for myself. And I also felt like an office like setting would really keep me less stressed because I'm the type of person that enjoys her private space. Lastly, whatever career I have, it must have me doing some form of writing, journalism, creative, whatever. What else would you expect from someone who graduated with an English degree? However, now that I've had a second job with these types of things that I wanted, my idea of a perfect career has shifted. For one, as comfortable as it may have been to have a more flexible work culture, it left me feeling unfulfilled. I expected my presence at the internship to be of more significance, and possibly it was. But personally, I wanted more than just to sit at a computer typing away for 8 hours. I would also prefer to have a little more variety in an office that allows me to get up and communicate with people. I mean, I was in charge of greeting people sometimes when they entered the building, but I need more than that. Something like hosting a business meeting or something along those lines. As for wanting to write more, I would say, um, eh, more writing, I guess? I really had no issues with producing more content for correct co-working. In fact, I wanted to do even more than that at a faster rate. So I don't think my love for the skill will ever change. Regardless of whatever challenges came my way during my internship, I'm grateful to have them, because without it, I wouldn't have had the knowledge to better understand what I wanted to be in the future. I would even argue that struggling at a new job instead of having no problems at all is much more eye-opening, because you have the opportunity to shape your career path and also see how strong you can persevere in times of stress. When it comes to myself, I got to the other side, and when my internship was all over, I got to spend the last few weeks totally free in Barcelona, as well as a few other places. I had never intended to visit Rome, but some roommates invited me to join them on this weekend adventure, and I figured, why not? When else would I ever get to do this? So here's some places I ventured to in the short amount of time that I had. That entire dedication to Rome felt longer than my trip there. There was definitely not enough time to explore everything. So I hope one day I could go back and see more of it, hopefully with some family members by my side. Rome may have been put behind me, but there was even more to look forward to, along with some loved ones who decided to get a taste of what Barcelona was like. Those loved ones being my parents.
I also went to this place called TB Double Park, which is on the top of this high mountain and pretty hard to get to. I made it though with my family and got to enjoy it for maybe an hour before it started thunderstorming, just out of nowhere. The best things I captured before then was this clip of my family and I on the Ferris wheel, and then this photo of myself on a horse. And if you thought we stayed in Barcelona for the time they were visiting me, you'd be wrong. During the final week, we decided to travel to Portugal to discover even more things. And just like that, our trip to Portugal was over. And man, was it beautiful. You couldn't deny the beauty of the buildings, or how delicious the food was. I felt so carefree there, and I wouldn't mind going again, as long as I stay in that hotel I was in. That was amazing. It felt like we were royalty there. But we had to return to Barcelona to catch our flight the following day, to go back to a place I haven't been to in over 2 months. Home. Coming back felt relieving to my spirit, like I had reconnected to what made me feel whole, but it also proved to me that I made it. I completed my internship. Everything has been fairly normal since I've returned home, but now that I no longer attend university, I've just been job hunting. I want to give myself a little break before I go on for a master's degree. But until then, I'm taking advantage of the luxury of being at home and being more appreciative of the efforts my parents made not only to see me in Barcelona, but to help fund this trip. I am completely grateful to all who have supported me during this time, and I hope that my future will allow me to do even greater things. But again, for now I'll try to live in the moment and enjoy the little things like being at home. Hope you enjoyed my narrative of my 2-month-long adventure, and maybe it offered you some insight into places you may be considering visiting someday. Just always remember, don't be afraid to try new things. I think it helps guide people into the path of their future.